It does feel like an anime recap, Shane.
Shin Wolfer is a diligent office worker living.
It's so much fun though.
However, is already ingrained in the brain of a weeb like you. Rista has been promoted and given the title of an S-ranked goddess. She seems happy when she accepts the title, but the moment she comes back home, she freaks out completely because she didn't expect to be promoted. Rista is a goddess that resides in heaven with several other gods and goddesses. Their job is to summon a hero and save a world plagued by demons from destruction. This information, however, is already ingrained in the brain of a weeb like you. Rista has been promoted and given the title of an S-ranked goddess. She seems happy when she accepts the title, but the moment she comes back home, she freaks out completely because she didn't expect to be promoted twice at once. Being an S-ranked goddess means that she will have to deal with a world that has an S-ranked demon king, and even the most veteran gods try to avoid these worlds as much as possible. She curses her luck but immediately starts working on drafting a human from Earth, which would fit the best for a world like this. She looks through the several potential candidates, but all of them have the most ordinary stats, which would have been fine in a normal world, but in an S-ranked world, these stats would lead to the person's death in an instant. While throwing a tantrum, she stumbles upon a candidate named Saya, who was level 1 but had excellent stats, which shocked Rista. She claimed that stats like this are unbelievably rare, and the chances of getting a candidate like this are 1 in a billion. She gets extremely happy and immediately draws a magic circle, summoning the hero from Earth. Saya arrives in heaven and seems confused after looking around. He looks at Rista for a moment and asks her where he is.
He looks so grumpy. He looks like a grumpy black cat. So cute. I might tell also a cheese burrito with like a whole bunch of herbs and stuff. It tastes really good. And it should time me over for like nearly like 2 hours. This anime's hilarious. Oh sweet.
In a very elegant fashion that he was in heaven and has been called by her as the chosen hero to save an alternate world from the grips of the demon king there. He looks at her and tells her to save the damned world herself if she is such a powerful goddess. Why does she need him for this matter? She is completely shocked at this and replies that there are certain rules that prevent the direct intervention of any gods in matters involving humans, so only a human can save the other world from the demon king. The gods can only help find the appropriate human to protect the other world. Saya still looks uninterested and tells her that he has no interest in saving a different world. Rista gets annoyed as almost every single hero who was summoned up until now was a simp for her and was very eager to save the world. However, this human is completely uninterested in her as well as the different world. She tells him that he has excellent stats and shows them to him. She also informs him that she will be accompanying him on this journey and guiding him through various obstacles. She then very eagerly opens the portal to the other world and starts going through it when she realizes Sia isn't following her. She turns around to ask what's the matter, to which he replies that he isn't going into this new world unprepared. He takes out his shirt and starts exercising, claiming that he will only go once he believes he's ready to go. She goes to one of her goddess friends and tells her about Saya and how he is adamant about training before going to the new world. The goddess named Aria tells her to be patient and support him. She tells him to give him some time and provide him with the basic necessities and some food for the duration of his training. Rista remembers that he hasn't eaten anything since he came here, so she cooks some rice balls and takes them to him. She opens the door and gives him the rice ball that she made, but Sia is extremely cautious and debates whether the rice ball could be poisoned. Rista gets annoyed and eats one of the rice balls to show that it isn't poisoned, and then she gives him some basic necessities that he will need before giving him a buzzer and telling him to ring it when he is ready. She then leaves the room in a huff. 3 days pass by and she didn't hear from Saya. She keeps bringing him food and placing it outside his door, but he hasn't rung the bell yet. Finally, after 7 grueling days, he rings the buzzer and Rista runs up to his room. She checks his stats and sees that he has risen several levels and even his stats have been increased. She is impressed to see his progress in only 7 days, and finally they agree to go into the alternate world. They both arrive in the world and Rista makes sure that they are in the beginner village where only weak monsters are found. They wander through the village while Saya constantly suspects anyone and everyone to be an enemy. Suddenly, a young girl arrives in front of them and starts talking to them. Saya is reserved and thinks that the little girl might be a shape-shifting monster, but Rista shuts him up and asks the girl where the closest weapons shop is. They go to the weapons shop and Rista gives him money to spend on some good equipment. Saya walks up to the seller and asks him to give her 3 of his best armors. Rista is horrified, as the armor is very expensive, and asks him why he wants 3. Saya replies that he wants 1 to wear, 1 as a spare, and 1 in case his spare is lost. Rista tells him that he can only get 1, and finally, after he buys a full set of equipment, he takes Rista to another shop where he stocks up on medicine.
That's like, I want 3. 1 to wear, 1 is a spare, and 1 is a spare. And I need another 3 for the spare, and the other 1, other 2 are the other spares.
And potions. Rista tells Saya that with his skills, they can simply leave this village and go to a higher level town, but Saya refuses to do so as he doesn't know what kind of monsters are around. Rista takes Saya to the outskirts of the village where he spots a slime monster. Rista tells Saya to just quickly kill it, as it is one of the weakest monsters, but is shocked to see that Saya charges up one of his strongest attacks and hits the slime, completely evaporating it from existence. Rista turns to tell him that it was a complete overkill, and that even a small stab would have killed the slime, but Saya tells her to shut up and uses another explosion magic at the same location where the slime was. Rista is completely shocked by this, but Saya is not done yet. He charges up and uses his strongest attacks multiple times, until there is a huge crater in the ground and he is satisfied that the slime is dead. Rista was about to scold him, but suddenly they feel a very eerie aura and turn around to spot a demon woman walking towards them. She introduces herself as Chaos, one of the 4 generals of the Demon King's army. Rista is at a loss for words and asks her, why is she here? As this is the beginner's village, to which she replies that as soon as the Demon King realized that the hero had been summoned, he sent her to eliminate the hero as soon as possible, as he knew the hero would be weak and in the beginner's town. Rista turns around and tells Saya that they need to run, but is shocked to see that Saya has already started running. Rista also starts running as Chaos. Chaos tries to hunt them down, both Saya and Rista run like their lives depend on it. Rista starts slow.
Yeah. I find it funny that he's like, no, I'm gonna train before. Because, I mean, excuse me. Kind of makes sense. Like, you don't know what you're doing. And if I was a Demon King, I'm like, oh, I know somebody's gonna be summoned to it. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, hey, go destroy them before they get strong enough to kill me.
Slowing down after a bit, and Chaos was about to catch her. But Saya quickly uses his smoke bombs to misdirect Chaos and picks Rista up, running the opposite way. Saya tells Rista to quickly create a portal so they can head back to heaven, and she does so. Saya turns around and uses his fire ability to create a firewall in front of Chaos to prevent her from entering the heaven world. He pushes Rista away from him and tells her to piss off, as he's going to train even more before going back to the world. 2 days pass by and Rista still didn't get any rings. She borrows Aria's magic ball and looks through it to see what is going on in that world. She is horrified to see that Chaos has taken over the village, and she beheads one of the villagers in front of her. Then she screams that if the hero doesn't show himself, she will keep killing villagers one by one. Rista runs towards Suya's place and shows him the magic ball, telling him that Chaos is killing all the villagers one by one. Saya looks at her and tells her that he will not go back to this world until he is completely ready. Rista can't believe her ears and repeats that if he doesn't go back right now, the villagers will die. He again tells her to stay back and let him train, as if he goes unprepared and dies, then all of the villagers will also die. Rista has had enough, and she decides that she will face the demon alone and opens a portal, but Saya stops her, dons his armor, and declares that he is ready to face her. They both go into the world, and Saya hides behind a house and then uses his wind magic to slash at Chaos, which she easily dodges, and then mocks Saya for his missed skills. Saya, in turn, tells her that she was never his target and that he was always aiming for the villager who was tied up. Chaos looks behind him to see that the ropes of the villager were cut off, and he runs away. Chaos seems to be a little taken aback, and he checks Saya's stats and is blown away to see how much he has grown. She, however, tells him that she also has an ace up her sleeve and reveals her true powers. She suddenly becomes bigger and stronger and attacks Saya with surprising speed. Saya is able to dodge the blow, but she keeps pushing him with attacks, which he tries to defend against. She accepts that Saya has surprised her by being able to keep up with her, but she tells him that it's the end for him, as she still has her trump card. She raises her sword as Saya prepares to defend against it, but to everyone's shock, she uses the sword to stab herself in the stomach and collapses on the ground. Before anyone could recover from this sight, her stomach burst open and a shadow emerged from it, circling up in the sky and transforming into a giant monster. Rista checks her stats and is completely horrified to see her true strength. She is several times stronger than Saya right now, and with his abilities, Saya doesn't have a chance against her. The giant demon flies down and punches Saya. A huge cloud of dust covers the entire area, and Rista is completely horrified and saddened, knowing that Saya isn't strong enough and that he couldn't have survived that attack. She blames herself for bringing him here when he didn't feel completely ready, but as the dust settles, she's overjoyed to see that Saya has blocked her punch. Both Rista and Chaos are completely shocked as to how Saya can block her punch, so Rista checks Saya's stats again and realizes that he was hiding his real stats all along. He is several times stronger than Chaos, and even before he ran away, he was still much stronger than Chaos, but he wanted to be cautious, so he trained some more. Chaos flies into the sky and charges a large ball of dark magic, but Saya flies straight up to her and uses
Smart boy.
his ability to kill her in an instant. Rista is overjoyed and hugs Saya, but Saya tells her to get away from him because he's afraid she has AIDS or something. Surround him completely, thanking him for protecting them. They call him to the mayor's manor to have dinner with them, but Saya declines as his mom told me not to eat with strangers. He excuses himself and starts using a broom to collect all the pieces from the dead Chaos, which he then uses his explosion ability to destroy, as he is scared that she will regenerate. Rista tells him to stop as she's already dead, but he keeps using his abilities and finally uses his special ability, Fire Inferno, which creates a huge tornado of fire that spreads to all the houses and shops, and even a guy gets burned. Finally, when he is satisfied that Chaos is dead, he turns around to see the village half destroyed and asks if the Demon King attacked. The villagers beg him on their knees to leave their village and go somewhere else, and he agrees because he doesn't want to catch a plague from these people. They set off again on the journey, and Rista thinks that they will be going to the next city, but Saya tells her that he's going back to heaven to train some more, as he suspects the Demon King will send even stronger opponents now that he has defeated one of his 4 generals. Rista tries to argue but ends up opening the portal when she sees that Sia isn't going to back out, and she follows him back to heaven. Saya goes back to his chambers once again and locks himself up again, telling Rista not to disturb him. Rista goes back to Arya and tells her about how difficult it is to deal with Saya. She explains that they haven't even proceeded to the next city yet, and Sia doesn't seem interested either. Arya tells her that she has saved 100 worlds before and has never seen a hero like Saya, but she also remarks that there was one particular world, which was supposed to be an easy world, but she was unable to save it. They tell her that world looks similar to Saya, but personality-wise, he was totally different. Suddenly, Saya walks into their chambers and calls Rista, telling her that no matter what he does, he cannot gain levels anymore. Rista gives him a sly smile and tells him that there is only so much he can do to train alone, and he cannot keep gaining levels if he only trains alone, as it takes more time to gain levels this way the stronger you get. Saya seems to be very confused, and he asks her if there is any other way, to which she replies that
He still reminds me of a grumpy
get
kitty.
much more experience and help him grow stronger much faster. Saya looks at her and straight up declines the idea, saying that it is too dangerous. Arya comes forward and tells him that he could go and train with one of the gods, and that way he wouldn't have to be scared of dying, and he could also gain a lot of experience very quickly. Saya immediately loves this plan and asks her to take him to a god who will train with him. She takes him and Rista both to a god named Cirque, who is famous for his dedication towards training with his divine sword, and it is said that even after being the best swordsman among the gods, he still trains every single day.
Aww.
Arya goes up to him and asks him if he would train Saya, and he replies that normally he doesn't train with mortals as they are too weak, but he will train Saya because such a high-ranking goddess as Arya is asking him for a favor. He tells Saya to show what he has got, and they both do a small sparring session, in which Sia
Excuse
is able
me.
to keep up with him. The next
Saya's
day,
gonna end up being like a
Sia
next
is
god.
by himself. She asks him about the ongoing training, and he tells her that the training is going well, and that he is learning very quickly. Another day passes, and this time Cirque seems a bit disturbed. Rista again asks about the training, to which he seems taken aback and replies with a laugh that it is going great, and that he is a very strong candidate. The next day in the canteen, Rista spots Cirque in the corner, drinking water all alone and depressed. She asks what's the matter, and he
The gods hate him,
he has
low-key.
so much power that Cirque can't defeat him anymore, and still he keeps forcing Cirque to train him. The next day, Rista doesn't find Cirque in the canteen, so she goes behind the canteen kitchen to get some seaweed to make rice balls for Saya, but is horrified to see depressed Cirque hiding behind some drying seaweed. She asks him what the matter is, and he replies that Saya is a sick man. He is a
Dude! This man is stronger than a god right now. You'd think he's basically a god.
sadist and is already several times stronger than him, but he still forces Cirque to train with him, as he wants to be 100 times as strong as him before he moves on. He cries that he has nothing more to teach him and that Sia doesn't give him any breaks. Rista seems to feel sorry for him, but just then Sia arrives and asks Cirque what he is doing. Cirque seems scared and replies that he is just pretending to be a seaweed, and Sia looks at him with disgust before telling him that they are going to train. Cirque starts crying and throws his sword away in the water, saying he doesn't want to see it anymore, but Saya still drags him along inside the dojo to train. A person comes to Rista and tells her that the goddess named Ishtar is calling her, and she rushes to meet her. Ishtar is an old goddess who is very wise and can look into the future. She greets Rista and tells her to quickly move to the next town, as some people need their help, and it is very urgent. Rista listens to her and quickly rushes to Cirque's place, where she finds Sia on top of Cirque, mercilessly punching him on the ground. She tells him to get off of him and tells him that they are leaving at this instant. Saya looks at her and says that he has learned all he can, so he goes along with her.
He's not how you can. That poor god! You mentioned he's just gone. That poor god! Well, from a gamer perspective, I understand what he's doing. He doesn't want to die. I understand that. At the same time, it's so funny.
Rista asks one of them about what's happening, and they reply that a horde of undead is coming to this city, and they should also leave while they could. Rista and Saya both go inside the city and visit a shop that sells holy water, which is very effective against the undead. Saya tells the vendor that they will buy 1,000 bottles of holy water, which outrages Rista, and she tells the vendor to only give them 10. They both walk towards the church, where they see a priest.
I want 1,000 bottles. You get 10.
Introduce themselves as Ulu and Mash. They are known as Dragonkin, as dragon's blood runs through them. The priest greets Saya and starts telling him about the horde of undead approaching, but without saying a word, Saya pours an entire bottle of holy water on him. Everyone is horrified at this act, but suddenly, the priest starts writhing in pain and gets converted back to his real form, which is that of an undead. Mash and Ulu walk up to finish him off, but are surprised to see that he has already been chopped to pieces by Saya without even being noticed. Saya gathers
That's
all
true.
the
Like, you gotta be ready for literally anything.
happen. She takes the rest of
It's me in Final Fantasy. I'm so overleveled in Final Fantasy for like the quests I am doing.
them and rushes outside the church just in time before Saya uses his Inferno ability to destroy everything in sight, even the entire temple, to the horror of the sister. He comes out later, and while the kids try to introduce themselves, he pours holy water on the sister and both the kids, and for good measure, he also pours the holy water on Rista herself, which makes her mad, but he doesn't give a crap about it. The kids
It makes her mad, but he doesn't give a crap about it.
his teammates, but Saya plainly looks at them and rejects them, saying that they are useless to him. Mash looks up at him unbelievably and tells him that he is a Dragonkin and is known as the hero of his village, but Saya bluntly replies that he should go back to his village and be a hero there then. Mash looks irritated, but before he could say anything, a bunch of knights arrived. They are horrified to see the fallen church and the barely conscious sister. They run up to her and ask her what happened, and she quickly tells them about the priest and how Saya is a hero, accompanied by the goddess Rista. They quickly turn towards Saya and apologize for their rudeness. They tell Saya that at least 200 knights have been dispatched from the capital and are coming to help them. Saya looks at him and tells him that he doesn't need them either. The knights look bewildered as Saya reiterates that he will be dealing with all the undead on his own, and he tells the knights to defend the town if there are any more undead hiding. He then turns towards Mash and tells him that if he wants to help, he should just stay in the town with the knights. Mash is extremely annoyed and walks away in a huff, telling Saya to shove it, as he's going on his own and will never team up with him.
Aww.
Rista looks at Saya and tells him
He looks so sad.
as they might come in handy, but Saya plainly looks at her and tells her that he doesn't even need her, and she should just wait at the inn while he cleans everything up. Rista is shocked at this statement as she's a goddamn goddess. Saya, however,
She's a goddamn goddess.
flies away. Rista is mad and uses her divine favor to get wings. She chases after Saya, who sees her coming after him, so he increases his speed. Rista focuses all other power in her wings and follows Suya. Finally, Saya realizes that this useless goddess isn't going to leave him alone, so he grabs her and starts flying at supersonic speed. They finally arrive at the location where
This
the
goddess.
Rista looks completely unsettled by the extreme speed.
A
they travel
bruise
at.
on my elbow.
Saya just
That
looks at
hurt.
the horde and tells Rista to be prepared, as he is going to use one of his strongest skills. He uses his flame magic and calls forth a small meteor from the heavens, which impacts the very ground where the undead are walking, resulting in a huge explosion that wipes out the entire army all at once. Rista is bewildered at this, but Sia isn't done. He uses the skill once again and hits the exact same spot where once the undead were and is finally satisfied with the job. They go back to the inn where he pushes Rista out of his room as he wants to synthesize new metal. Rista goes to meet Yulu, who informs her that it has been 2 days and she cannot find Mash anywhere, which is making her scared. Rista suggests that maybe he went back home, but Yulu replies that he would never do it without telling her. Rista takes her to Saya, who is ecstatic about his new platinum sword, which is extremely strong and basically the best sword that exists. Rista is surprised by this and asks how he made it. He plainly replies that he used a normal sword, some minerals, and a strand of hair from his head to create the sword. She informs him that Mash is missing, but before he could reply, a knock is heard at the door and a delivery guy walks in with a parcel for Saya. Rista opens it, and it turns out to be a mirror, and while she was admiring her curves in it, the mirror lights up and shows something that horrifies her. Yulu walks up to have a better look, but is immediately left in tears when she sees Mash sitting on a chair all bloodied up. Suddenly, a figure arises from the darkness and calls forth Suya. The figure introduces himself as Death Magla, one of the 4 generals of the Demon King. He tells Saya that he has captured the Dragonkin and is going to torture him before killing him in front of them to take revenge on Saya for destroying his army. Yulu starts crying and Rista has no idea what to do. She looks at Saya and he tells her to open a portal to the Heavenly Realm. Rista doesn't understand what he wants to do, but he takes out his sword and tells her to open a portal right now, and she obliges. Before Death Magla could bring his knife down on Mash, Saya swings his sword with a special Phantom Slash skill, which reaches Death Magla through the mirror and chops his arm off, saving Mash from the attack. Saya then quickly jumps into the Heavenly Realm alongside Rista and tells her to take him to the Chief Goddess. Rista takes her to the Goddess Ishtar, and on the way, Saya tells her that time goes by 100 times slower in the Heavenly Realm, so they have around 15 minutes of time here before Death Magla recovers from the shock and finds another weapon to kill Mash. They arrive at Ishtar's place, and Saya immediately tells her to create a portal to wherever Mash is. Ishtar looks at him with a smile and tells him that gods are not allowed to provide more help than necessary. Saya looks at her and threatens to kill all of them if she doesn't open a portal, so she quickly obliges.
What? I'm gonna kill all you guys if you do not provide me a portal to where I need to go right now. What?
Magla, still confused with how Sia chopped his hand off. Saya quickly uses his fire blast to blow him away, while Rista unties Mash and quickly heals his wounds. Death Magla is still alive as he was able to use protective magic, which saved him. He looks at Saya and releases a giant phantom, which he claims to be his ace up his sleeve. Saya tries to attack the phantom, but he's a ghost-type monster and Sia is unable to attack him.
Dude. Here, I'll rewind it for you. He goes up to the head goddess. The lady that's in charge, basically. And it's like, hey, I need a portal to where this dude's at, and I need it, like, right now. And she's like, can't do it. We can't interfere. We can only give you as much help as, we're allowed to. And we can't just teleport you where you want to go. And he looks her dead in the eye and is like, cool. Do it anyway. Or I'm gonna murder all of you. And then she does it. That's basically what you missed.
Time goes by 100 times slower in the Heavenly Realm, so they have around 15 minutes of time here before Death Magala recovers from the shock and finds another weapon to kill Mash.
Because he cut off the general's arm before they went into the portal.
He tells her to create a portal to wherever Mash is. Ishtar looks at him with a smile and tells him that gods are not allowed to provide more help than necessary. Saya looks at her and threatens to kill all of them if she doesn't open a portal, so she quickly obliges. Saya rushes through the portal and sees Death Magla, still confused with how Sia chopped his hand off. Saya quickly uses his fire blast to blow him away, while Rista unties Mash and quickly heals his wounds. Death Magla is still alive as he was able to use protective magic, which saved him. He looks at Saya and releases a giant phantom, which he claims to be his ace up his sleeve. Saya tries to attack the phantom, but he's a ghost-type monster and Sia is unable to attack him. Rista tells him that almost no normal attacks can work against a ghost-type monster and Saya seems to be a bit taken aback by that. Death Magla, the giant halfwit, however, thinks that he has already won and conveniently tells Saya that the only way to defeat the monster is to first use blunt force on him, then convert him into ice, which will solidify it, and only then can someone kill it if they have that much attack power. Saya thanks him for all of the information, but Death Magla laughs at him, saying that he told him everything because he knows Sia is a fire element hero and ice element is literally the opposite of his type. He then
That's true.
to finish Sia off, but he dodges the attack and delivers a strong punch to the ghost, which shocks Death Magla, who thought Saya is only a swordsman. The Phantom and Saya both attack at the same time and their fists collide, but suddenly, to everyone's surprise, the Phantom starts turning into ice. Death Magla is completely shocked as to how this is possible, but Rista notices that Sia is wearing an ice element bracelet, which is letting him use ice magic. Saya reveals that he used Rista's hair to synthesize bracelets of every single element and spares of each bracelet, just to be prepared.
He did what?
To everyone's surprise, the Phantom starts turning into ice. Death Magla is completely shocked as to how this is possible, but Rista notices that Sia is wearing an ice element bracelet, which is letting him use ice magic. Saya reveals that he used Rista's hair to synthesize bracelets of every single element and spares of each bracelet, just to be prepared. Death Magla, still recovering himself, says that his Phantom has an extremely high defense stat and Sia couldn't possibly have enough attack power. And I think we all know what happens afterwards. Saya uses his fire magic and stabs the Phantom full force, killing it in one blow. Death Magla is bewildered by it and begs for its life, but Saya claims that he has a lot of cleanup to do and Rista simply takes Mash with him outside of the castle, so that Saya could do his cleanup well. They all go back to the inn,
So he could do his cleanup.
Looks at Saya and tells him that he was not aware of his overwhelming power before, and that's why he acted bratty. He quickly kneels down on the floor and asks Saya to take him as an apprentice with him. Saya looks at him and tells him that they can be his baggage carriers if they want to, and Mash happily agrees even to that. Mash and Ulu both tell Saya that they should go to the Dragon's Den, where their kind lies, as Destiny says that when Mash and Ulu return there, the most powerful weapon will form, which will easily be able to defeat the Demon King. Saya looks at them and says that they should go, but before that, he tells Rista to open the portal to heaven, and he takes all of them in with him. He tells them that they are too weak to even carry his baggage and need to be trained before anything else. They all go to the cafeteria, where they spot Cirque cooking food. As soon as he sees them, he gets a panic attack, but Saya calls him. Cirque runs up to him with the cake and tells him to taste it, as he made it with great care. Saya looks at the cake and tells Cirque that it looks disgusting. Cirque looks heartbroken.
That's so
Saya
mean.
tells him that they are going to train, which totally flips him out, and he starts crying, saying he doesn't want to even look at a sword, let alone train with him. Saya looks at him with disgust and tells him that he's going to have to train Mash, not him. Cirque's mood changes, but just to be safe, he checks Mash's stats. Once he sees that he is not very strong, he immediately agrees to teach him. The rest of them then go to a fire goddess who promises to teach Ulu flame magic, and they leave her there. Arya then takes Sia and Rista to Aiden, the goddess of war, who is leads above Cirque and might be the perfect fit to train Saya. They go to her room and it looks very spooky. She herself looks like half a ghost with unkempt hair and torn clothes. She agrees to take Sia as her apprentice, and they start training. The next day,
The goddess is
she seems to be happy
adorable.
and says that training has been going pretty well before Saya calls her back in for more training. The next day, Rista brings them food and is shocked to see Aiden wearing better clothes, and her hair seems to have been washed and brushed. Rista reminds
Aw,
Saya
she
that
loves
she's going
him.
and goes away. The next day arrives, and they have to leave again. Rista gets Mash back, and he has increased his skills quite a bit. She then picks Ulu up, but sadly, the fire goddess tells her that Ulu doesn't seem to have a knack for flame magic, and she hasn't really grown much. Finally, they meet Saya at the fountain, but before they could leave, Aiden arrives running towards them, wearing a beautiful white dress, with her hair tied beautifully and wearing makeup.
Aww.
She walks up to him and asks him to take her with him on his adventures as a companion, as she wants to stay with him forever. She also shows her the cake that she has made for him, but Saya barely looks at her and with great disgust says, "Yuck." He then simply moves on and tells Rista to open the
Says
portal
yuck.
and they are returning. While Rista opens a portal, they hear a giant explosion behind them and turn around to see that Aiden has gone berserk, breaking everything near her. Saya, however, doesn't give a crap and moves through the portal without even looking back. They go
Aww.
out and start moving towards the dragon's den.
Poor
when
girl's
a monster
heartbroken.
shows up. Mash immediately gets his sword out to try and fight it, but a fiery phoenix comes from the sky and kills the monster. Saya explains that this is his automatic phoenix ability, which will kill any monster within a 100-meter radius of them. Rista tells him to maybe let Mash and Ulu deal with some of the lower-level monsters, but Sia feels that it is unnecessary for baggage carriers to deal with monsters. They start walking again, and any monster that comes gets killed by the phoenix. While walking,
So
Ulu
cute.
notices that the symbol on their hand is glowing, and Mash also notices that. This means that they are very close to the den, and they finally find it. They go inside and find a huge
Like,
door with 2 handprints.
I get why everyone's upset with him, but he is adorable. He gives me grumpy cat vibes.
He then uses his eternal sword technique, which you learn from Aiden, and destroys the entire damn door. Mash and Ulu look down and
Grumpy cat vibes. Grumpy cat vibes. He gives me grumpy cat vibes.
and acknowledge their presence before telling them to step up on the platform.
I'm gonna need another snack here pretty soon. I'm still hungry.
Saya stops anyone from stepping up and puts a lizard on the platform before saying that they are ready. The lizard vanishes, and after a couple of seconds, it reappears with a voice saying that they think something went wrong as a lizard got teleported there. Saya checks the lizard for any deformities and then walks up to the platform and gets transported.
Grumpy cat. He looks like a grumpy cat.
Who tells him that they are extremely happy about their arrival and would like to take them to meet their leader and Queen Lev. They all
Ooh.
walk behind him through the city, and all the dragon people seem to recognize both Mash and Ulu as they are mentioned in their destinies. Finally, they arrive at the palace, where Lev greets them. She calls Mash forth and uses her magic abilities to transform Mash into a half-dragon form, telling him that now he can transform at will, and that his powers would be multiplied tenfold in dragon form.
Ooh.
Mash thanks her and tells Sia about it, who is happy as now Mash can carry more baggage.
Yes.
Lev and asks when she will learn how to turn into a dragon, but Lev tells her that she will never learn that, as her destiny is even bigger. She's going to be sacrificed, and she will then be converted into the legendary weapon that will defeat the Demon King. Everyone is shocked at this revelation, and Mash
What?
looks back at Ulu in disbelief. Rista protests, saying that you can't just sacrifice Ulu like that, as it is unfair to her. But Lev starts talking about how the world is crumbling, and that 70% of the entire world has already fallen into the hands of the Demon King. And if they do not create the legendary sword that defeats the Demon King, the entire world is going to perish. According to Destiny, when the Dragonkin girl is born in human flesh, she will have to be sacrificed, and her blood and flesh will become one with the sword. Only then will the Demon King be defeated. Hulu looks incredibly scared, but she puts on a brave act and says that there is no other way and that the world is more important than her. Rista and Mash are incredibly stressed and conflicted as to whether letting Ulu be sacrificed is the right thing to do, whereas Sia doesn't seem to have his mind troubled at all. While they are walking, when they are talking about what they should do,
That's-
Rista goes to a vendor and buys a
Oh my god! Why? Can we go back and watch that rip-off Harry Potter One Punch Man dude? Like, that was... They at least would sacrifice children to make an ultimate weapon. Like... What? Mash the OBS! Why? Oh, that poor girl.
bunch of speed-enhancing
I hope he does. I hope Grumpy Cat does not let that happen, okay? I would be so upset. Let me show you what he reminds me of. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it. Here. This is what the main character of this anime reminds me of, is of just a black grumpy cat. He's just grumpy. He's just a black grumpy cat. And this is the t-shirt he wears when he's not being summoned into other worlds. That's his t-shirt. Can't tell me I'm wrong. This is like his t-shirt when he's on Earth.
Looking at Saya, not giving a
Look, it's literally him. Yeah, can't tell me he wouldn't stop annoying people. Yeah.
crap about her makes Ulu tear up, and she runs away, saying that she's good for nothing anyways, and maybe talking about what they should do, whereas Sia doesn't seem to have his mind troubled at all. While they are walking, when they are talking about what they should do, Sia just goes away to a vendor and buys a bunch of speed-enhancing seeds from him. Looking at Saya, not giving a crap about her makes Ulu tear up, and she runs away, saying that she's good for nothing anyways, and maybe in this way she will be able to play a part in saving this world. Later in the evening, the feast is prepared for them, and Saya, alongside Rista and Mash, sit on the table alongside Lev and the others. Mash asks around for Ulu, but Lev tells them that she is getting ready for the ceremony. Mash still seems conflicted, but she has accepted her fate as what is best for this world. Lev proposes a toast, and everyone drinks from their cup, apart from Saya, who is too suspicious of everything. Two small dragons walk up to Rista, Mash, and Saya and offer them cookies that they made, and thankfully Saya doesn't tell them that they are disgusting and simply eats one. Sometime later, Ulu arrives at the feast wearing beautiful ceremonial robes and a ruby necklace. Everyone stands up, and Lev announces that
Okay, I think I missed something. How come these two children are completely like lizard people, but their two companions aren't, but they can transform into it? Did a lizard have sex with a human? Did I miss that whole scenario? I have missed that whole scenario. I think I just have to watch the show to like find out.
the ceremony is about to begin in the dungeons. They all go below inside the dungeon.
It's like this kid that's being held can transform into a dragon, and he was like born and raised in this community. She was also born and raised in this community, but she cannot transform into a lizard dragon thing. So how come these two look different, but the two kids that served them food earlier were completely dragon lizard things? Huh? What? Am I overthinking this again? Also, I see somebody in the chat that I think is just lurking, so I'm gonna do this. I didn't pull my parachute. Wow. Top tier content. I'm too distracted and didn't pull the parachute. Oh, I also don't think JD's here anymore. So I can do this with JD. Is JD here? Nah, it doesn't look like it. No, they might be actually just be looking. I was out there still here. I hope you enjoyed that fingering. GD context for all you guys. I hope you enjoy that fingering. Guys, I don't know if I told you the story about JD's like last stream I was in. So work canceled on me, and I jumped in, and first thing I hear is fingering, and that was it. I think I clipped it. We're gonna look. I think I clipped it. I know there was one I clipped. I could just go to my clips. Let's see, clips. Did I not clip it? Did I forget to clip it? How come I have the proof of authenticity, but I don't have the, hey, let's finger? What? Guys, let me tell you how much of a bully JD is, okay? I love them to death, but Jesus Christ. There's proof of authenticity, kinda. Oh. Okay. So, when I started, like, hanging out in JD's community, because it was before the time I started streaming, I just, like, wanted to make friends, because I like making friends, and I'm a lonely bastard. I jumped in on JD's stream, and it was, like, one of the first times I actually started talking, and it was after I kind of got, like, closer with Chris. I was like, hey, like, they're not bad people. I'm gonna go, like, hang out with them. JD mentioned to me, and I was like, hey, Munch. Guess what? Munch. Hey, Munch. I was like, yeah? What's going on? I was like, guess what I got? From Crumpling. I'm like, what did you get from Crumpling? I got Chris's signature. I was like, nah. Not possible. I don't even have Chris's signature, and I've been asking them for it. He's like, nah, Munch. You don't understand. I got it. Like, it's not digital. I got it here. I was like, prove it. Where's the proof of authenticity? Like, I need like the waiver signed that says, hey, I, Chris Landon, like, sign this. Like, I needed the proof. So, JD, this adorable little bean, was like, well, you're not gonna believe who sent it to me. I was like, cool. Who sent it to you? Crumpling. The thing was Crumpling. I'm like, what? Yeah, he's like, yeah, Crumpling got it for me and mailed it to me. I'm like, what? And then Crumpling pops up in chat. He's like, Munch, I can prove it's authentic. And I'm in there losing my goddamn mind. Here's the thing for it. You can see me losing my shit in chat. Because we were talking about, like, #1 fan. And then pulls that, like, out of his ass. It was like, hey, Munch, it's not fake. I'm like, what? I'm here losing my shit in chat. Where's my autograph, Munch? I got you. You'll be my first person I give an autograph to. Let me grab a paper. I'll do it live on stream and ship it to you. She's the auditor. She's like, you know. Yeah. In all seriousness, though, JD is an absolute amazing human being, and I absolutely adore them. So, you should go give them some love. They're amazing. I love them. And they're... They give me a good laugh when I hear them just randomly say finger. They're adorable human being. They did their first gaming stream, I think last week. So, I'm trying to get them on Club Penguin. So guys, if you want to see the one and only JD play some Club Penguins with your truly, you should go harass their chat by saying, "Hey, where's the Club Penguin contact? Hashtag JD for Club for CP." Just if you ever joined their stream, just do hashtag JD for CP. You check contacts my Cupid. Okay, so JD is a really good ASMRist, and they do a lot of different triggers. Like they'll like rub their fingers together. I can't do it because I have my stuff down, but they like rub their fingers together and stuff. And they were tapping on their board, and they said finger tapping, but when I joined on my phone, and so all I heard was finger and not the tapping part, because watching Twitch on your phone can suck ass sometimes. And so I got really confused. I was like, JD, what did I come back to? Alice Kristen, yeah. Chris owes me a Clip Penguin stream. They clip things out of context. I don't know. I don't know. Seemed pretty in context to me. How I drank BJS. JD. What's BJS before I say what I think it is? 'Cause BJS means something completely different. You can explain, okay? Yeah? Please tell me what BJS is, JD. Yeah, like half my audience is like in New Zealand or like Aussie. Like I got like the Aussie oi ois and the Kiwis. Coconut is buko. And as a part of our day-to-day convo, we mix Filipino and English there. Ah. Okay. 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 That makes so much more sense. I thought we were going to like Y-Cart's level of sus really quick. I'm like, JD, what what is this like past of yours that like it's just because I was confused. Oh my god. This is why we love JD. Let's see what other JD content we get. JD's single-handedly amusing my stream right now. What is that? you're not out of this either. We watched a clip of yours. We watched a clip of yours, Chris, where you forgot to hit the spacebar for your parachute because somebody joined and you were focused on that. Like, you forgot to pull your parachute on stream. You were playing some game and somebody joined and you were like, hey, somebody joined and you were focused on that and you never pulled your parachute and you died.
Oh my god!
What happened?
Shit! Did you guys see that? Oh my god!
Hi, Nico. Sorry if I woke you up. Oh my god. I'm dying. Oh, you're all good after that. Oh, sweet. We're about to hit the halfway mark of the stream. And I cannot seem to have found my blue light glasses, so I'm kind of struggling. Don't die. You know what? I'll do you one better. I don't hear any of this clip. I don't know if you guys can. Oh, I have to raise up the volume for myself. I had my mic lowered. Okay, that's fine. Tippity tappity, tippity tappity, tippity tappity. Yeah. JD and Chris's community is so wholesome.
Oh my god, what is this?
Oh, this is an old clip.
Who wants to do a front with me?
No. Nico, we need to get you help. Front threes? No. Shh.
Why is this so funny? Please someone clip this.
We need to get you help. We're getting him help. No, you. No, sorry, Chris. It has already been declared. I'm sorry. Okay, stop something to drink. Cool. Please, man, that is terrible. Yeah, we're gonna get you help. Don't worry. We're gonna get you the same help as #JD for CP. And #Chris for CP. So if you ever see them around, please send that to them.
Dungeons and watch from below as Yulu is put up on a platform. It explains that Yulu is supposed to cast herself off that platform into the abyss, where she will die and her flesh and blood will become one with the sword, which will emerge from the depths of the abyss and be used by the hero to defeat the Demon King once and for all, saving the entire world from being destroyed. Mash looks even more conflicted watching her on the platform, but Yulu looks at him and tells him that it is fine, as it is destiny. She also jokes with them and tells them to clean and polish her once in a while so she doesn't get rusted before the sad look returns to her face. She starts moving slowly and looks at them again, telling them that she will see them soon once she becomes his sword, but it becomes too much for Mash, and he screams that it is not right. He starts walking, but is immediately captured by 2 of the dragon guards. Yulu looks at them from above and screams at them to let him go, but Lev simply tells them that she expected something like this might happen and was prepared for it. She tells the guards to help Yulu walk on the platform, and the fat guard—
Ah! Oh my god, it's practical magic. Oh, thank you so much for doing that.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how it started
Oh my god.
It's all either Will's.
I'm sorry. I'm doing really good. Okay, guys. We have a treat. We have practical magic here, okay? Let me tell you about practical magic. They're one of my favorite one of my top like 4 streamers I watch like every day. Their laugh is super contagious. Like if you turn on their stream and you listen to them for like 2 minutes, you will hear them laugh and you'll just fuck. I hate just why is it that clip? Anyway, practical magic is absolutely amazing person. I love them. They make my days so much better. If you need like a good like pick me up, just hang out in their chat. It's chaotic. What clip is this? What?
One of these days, Ace is gonna get that sticker. I have utmost faith in him. I believe he got it, and did he?
It's been really, really nice. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you here. All right, delinquent. Are you sitting down? Are you ready? We gonna do this? You got Gigi?
Why did I hear JJ and not Gigi? God. It's the lack of sleep. I'm blaming it on that. Oh, that's another person. Oh, I haven't watched Razor Red in so long. Because every time somebody rates them, I'm like passing out. Oh, they're so good. I'm just getting completely sidetracked now. I'm gonna have to grab something more to drink here pretty soon. Is that a moth on my wall? There's a moth. Oh, that's a big spider for a moment. I was about to scream.
Guards start pushing Ulu towards the platform. Rista screams at them to let her go, but no one listens to her. Lev then tells the fatty guards to help Ulu jump into the abyss, and if she doesn't, then throw her off the abyss. The guards chuckle and start pushing her again, but suddenly Saya appears behind them and with a swift kick, throws both of them off the platform. Lev is extremely surprised at this and tells her to stop what he is doing, as this is the only way to save the planet.
No, he will kill gods.
Tells her that he is not going to believe the nonsense spouting out of an old, ugly lizard woman. He proudly tells her that he never had any conflicting thoughts from the start. Yulu is his
That look of disgust on him.
will always be that, and anyone who thinks otherwise will have to deal with him. Rista starts laughing at this statement, and Mash transforms into the dragon form and overpowers the guards, pinning him down. Suddenly, however, he collapses on the ground, and Rista looks back at him out of concern, just to realize that she herself has collapsed on the floor. Lev laughs at them and claims that she is an extremely conscious woman as she has lived for so long. She isn't naive like the hero and his party, and she thinks everything through before executing it. She reveals that the entire feast was just a setup, as she expected something like this might happen, and she put paralyzing potions in all of their drinks. Rista says, however, that Sia never drank her drink, to which Lev replies that she was surprised that he didn't, but she's always prepared and sent cookies through the hands of the children, which Sia was forced to eat. She then sends multiple guards up the platform and tells them to capture the hero and tie him up before throwing Ulu off the cliff. The fat guards walk grinning ear to ear, but as soon as they get close, they are shocked to see that Sia is completely fine.
Why? Why is his narrator saying fat guards? And this woman's just sending them after this guy that wants to kill all the gods.
Before throwing them off the platform. He reveals that he doesn't eat anyone's cooking apart from Rista's, and as soon as he ate the cookie, he forcefully vomited everything out, as he will never eat anything cooked by the hands of ugly, disgusting lizard people, who for all he knows might carry the bubonic plague. Lev commends Saya for his cautiousness, but tells him that it will be of no use before she transforms into an elder dragon. She flies towards Saya, and they both end in a face-off. Rista checks Lev's stats and is shocked to see her extraordinarily high HP. Lev responds by saying that an elder dragon is covered with scales that are tougher than any metal on this planet, and no ordinary sword could so much as scratch her. Saya, however, seems unfazed and asks Mash whether he packed that one item. Mash tells him that it's in the bag, and Sia grabs a red sword out of the bag, which shocks Lev. The name of the sword is the Dragon Killer, and it is the only sword that has any effect on an elder dragon. Saya responds that as soon as he knew they were going into dragon territory, he created a Dragon Killer sword because it was very probable that you would have to fight against dragons. Saya darts forward and slashes at Lev, which cuts her deeply, and she's surprised at the strength that Sia has. She immediately strikes back, however, and tries to kill Yulu, which surprises Rista. She screams at Lev, asking why she is trying to kill Yulu when she needs her for the ceremony. Lev replies that she only needs her body. It doesn't matter whether she is alive or dead. Saya
Wow.
will never let an old lizard
This is why you kill dragons in every single
she has a
game.
careful sort, and she doesn't have to touch her to kill her. She informs them that she put a necklace on her before the ceremony, which will kill her within 3 minutes of its activation, and she activates it as soon as she finishes speaking. Yulu cries out in pain and drops to the floor, while Mash screams at Lev to leave her alone.
They're out to murder children.
But Lev
What is up with these anime?
the curse could only be removed if Lev died, and
First, they make lollies that are like 200 plus years old, and then make the people that look 18 years old or be like 15. And now this one just wants to go around mass murdering children. Like, what?
she uses her special ability called Defense Wall, and her entire body gets covered in golden-colored scales that are totally indestructible, even by the Dragon Killer. She cannot move in this state, but she only has to wait 3 minutes before Ulu dies, and her job would be complete. Saya gets another Dragon Killer sword from his bag, which he brought as a spare, and eats a whole bunch of speed-enhancing seeds. He then decides to use the Eternal Sword technique that he learned from Aiden on both hands and starts attacking Lev at incredible speed. Lev, however, doesn't seem to be fazed by it, and when Rista checks her stats, she realizes that her HP isn't dropping at all. None of the attacks that Sia is doing now are affecting her in this form, and the time is ticking for Ulu. Lev laughs at Saya, saying that he's wasting his energy to try and save her, as there is no way he can damage Lev in this state. Saya, however, doesn't seem to care and keeps attacking her. And finally, Lev realizes that he's trying to push her off the platform and into the abyss. Lev tells him to stop immediately, but obviously Saya keeps attacking her and pushing her back to a point where she is pushed off the cliff, but immediately transforms back into the normal Elder Dragon form and uses her flame breath to attack Saya. Saya simply uses his wind cutter magic to cut through her flame breaths, which also end up damaging her wings, and she falls to her death.
Wait, since she's an Elder Dragon, couldn't they just use her body to make the sword? Since they, like, killed her?
Depths of the abyss, and Sita grabs it before cutting Ulu a little bit on the arm and putting her blood into the sword. The sword immediately turns into a beautifully ornate sword, which Sia calls the legendary sword. The dragon people are confused as they say it could only be created through the flesh and blood of Ulu, but Sia tells them that he did use Ulu's blood, and Lev was also a dragon woman, so it must have worked that way. This way, the entire dragon population seems to be happy, and they see him off to the teleporter and send them back to the den where they came from. Ulu and Mash go ahead, and then Rista turns towards Saya and asks whether he lied about the legendary sword, and he replies yes. He just used a normal platinum sword and synthesized it in front of them, which made it look like the sword changed. Rista thanks him for doing what he did, and they also move outside only to find a scared Mash and Ulu at the entrance, surrounded by a bunch of men. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for part 2 and watch this